Yesterday was a long and emotional day. We got up at 5:15 and we ended the day at about 12:15. I hadn't had a full night's sleep in almost a week. Last night, though, I slept like a baby. I slept like a baby. I was able to spend time with my family, my sister, my mother, my children, and my Francis. And now we know that the returns have finally come in. I'm going to tell you, my faith in Houston is restored. So now we go on to December the 14th. Let me make sure that I do this before we go any further. I want to thank our wonderful staff. I want to thank not only the staff of our campaign who have worked their tail ends off, but I want to thank my law firm staff who has also worked very hard, and frankly, 100 employees or more there. I haven't been at the office very often. I want to thank the volunteers. This office, if you've been here during this campaign, this office has been full of volunteers. Unlike the current mayor, most of the people that work on our campaign are volunteers, people that care about the city of Houston. I want to thank my family. And you know what? I want to thank the other candidates. Sue Lovell. Can't get any better person than Sue Lovell. Dwight Boykins, somebody who clearly cares about the city of Houston. Bill King. He was nipping at my heels for a long time, but I want to thank Bill King for his thoughtful emails, some of which I did not like, but also for his commitment to the city of Houston. And I want to tell you, all the candidates, those of which that I met. I met almost every candidate. It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure to get to know them in some respect and to hear their point of view. It was a healthy competition, and I appreciate their commitment to the city of Houston. I asked them to join us because now we are in a new chapter. We are in what I call phase 2. So I saw last night the news and, the headlines, and the question was, what is the story? What is the story? What do we take from what happened yesterday? Here's what I take from it. The son of a butcher and a bus driver is in the runoff to be mayor of the third or fourth largest city in the country. A guy who grew up on a little dirt road 9 miles outside of a 1,300-person town, who rose to the rank of captain, United States Marine Corps Special Forces, is within striking distance of being the mayor of the city of Houston, the great city of Houston. A political outsider pushed a career politician to a runoff. A political outsider pushed a career politician who has the entire establishment behind him because their entire way of life depends upon him, including the only newspaper, or one of the major newspaper, is totally in bed with him and on his side. Still pushed him to a runoff, even though they said they're going to win without a runoff. Well, guess what? Didn't happen. I started this race a year ago to get Houston back on track, but we aren't done yet. I knew it would be a challenge, beating an entrenched incumbent who hands out contracts like they're candy on Halloween to his friends, cronies, and lobbyists. I knew it would be tough. It would be tough taking out a career politician. I want to say to everybody watching, I deeply, deeply and sincerely appreciate everybody who voted for me in this campaign and our movement, because this is a movement. This is a movement, make no mistake. And for those that did not vote for me, if you voted for another candidate, I ask that you now join us, because we have an opportunity to make history. This is a crusade to make Houston a city that we all can be proud of. When they talk about the great cities of Texas, why don't they mention Houston, Texas? When they talk about the great cities of the United States, why don't they mention Houston, Texas? When I'm your mayor, they will. Now remember, a lot of you have made fun of the fact that when I first announced to be your mayor, to run for mayor that I brought some horse manure to our other campaign office, and some of you made light of that, but I was making a point. The point was, we're going to do things different. Our whole city depends upon it. I said when I decided to run, we're going to end pay-to-play corruption at City Hall, and we are going to do that. I said that we would prepare for and prevent flooding. We can't do it overnight, but we're going to do that. I said that we would reverse the declining conditions of our infrastructure, which is 25 to 30 years behind in maintenance and construction. And all the while, there's a massive diversion of the infrastructure tax, that is the rain tax or the drainage fee, whatever you want to call it, that is being used elsewhere that should be used for drainage. And I talked about the neglect of both the fire and police departments, that we are engaged right now and are spending millions of dollars on lawyers where our city is litigating against the fire department and against the police department. We're going to put an end to that. Public safety is too important. And I also have been talking about the homelessness issue in the city of Houston. We have a major homelessness issue that will be addressed. We will absolutely address it. And let me make sure, there's many. I think one of the reasons that we did so well yesterday, people love animals. Cats, dogs, horses. There is a major stray animal population in the city of Houston, more than 1 million animals. Whether you're in the 5th Ward, North Side, whether you're in the 3rd Ward, running free, we're going to address the issue. We have a comprehensive and detailed plan to address it. I want the animal lovers in this city to know, I'm here. We're going to change the city. We're going to lead. We're going to lead the country in that effort. Now, a year has went by since I announced my intention to become the mayor of the city of Houston. And the problems that we have not gotten any better. They've actually gotten worse. 60% of this mayor's campaign donations come from people who do business with the city. In the last year, we've had 2 major flood events, and the mayor's so-called flood czar says that we are no more prepared for the next flood than we were prepared before Hurricane Harvey. Our streets are worse. You can't even drive and drink a cup of coffee or drink a glass of tea on these streets without it spilling all over your shirt. The firefighters are no closer to pay parity than they were before Prop B was passed. Our police department is understaffed. We have 5,200 police officers, but only 2,300 on the street to cover 660 some odd square miles. Completely understaffed. Going forward, our campaign will focus on Houston. We will focus on its challenges and its future. We're going to be very specific. We're going to draw a real distinction between this mayor and what he has done or failed to do over the last 4 years and what we are going to do. We're not going to be discussing personalities who are not on the ballot. We're not going to be talking about national politics. We're going to be talking about the here and now and the real problems of Houston, Texas. Here's the question. Will we go the way of Detroit, Chicago, or other cities that we know are in clear decline? Or will we harness the can-do spirit of Houston, Texas? Now, make no mistake. For the next 39 days, this is going to be a full-on slugfest. But if you have an entrenched incumbent mayor who cannot even get 47% with the power of incumbency, and the entire political establishment backing him, including our major newspaper, and if he can't win outright, despite what they say, he's got a real problem. Now, I understand while Sylvester Turner wants to talk about national politics because he doesn't want to focus on what he has done or failed to do, but we're going to focus on that. And we're going to offer up an alternative of how we could be if we work hard. The question is this: are we better off today than we were 4 years ago? I would respectfully submit, no, we are not. There's a quote, and it goes like this. It's from Teddy Roosevelt, one of my heroes. In any moment of decision, the best thing you can do is the right thing. The worst thing you can do is nothing. When people ask Tony Buzbee, why are you running for mayor? This quote encapsulates it completely and comprehensively. We're going to do better. Our city's at a crossroads. If you give me the chance, I will lead and make you proud. I want to tell you all watching, thank you and God bless you. And we are talking about a new energy and a new Houston. I'll take a few questions if you have any. Yes, sir.
I just want to address something from your speech last night.
Yes, sir.
You had a lot to say. It was quite a lengthy speech. On social media today, there are some people who are accusing you of being drunk. What's your response to that?
I don't have any. That's just silly. I don't have a response to that. It's dumb. I mean, I was tired and it was a long day. And, you know, I wonder why our county, we couldn't get the results in. I mean, what is wrong the fact that we have to wait till today to figure out, despite what the Chronicle says, that the mayor didn't even break 47 and I was near at 30. No, I reject that. That's just silly. Next question.
So you didn't have, Ted Oberg, my colleague, who was actually at your event last night, called your speech disjointed.
Yeah, I rambled a bit. Sometimes I do that. I may do it again.
So you're saying that you had not had any?
No, nothing at all. No.
You're
No, you know, for the last week, I've barely slept. But last night, I slept like a baby. Once we figured out that we were going into the runoff, and now it's a new chapter, we're gonna get busy.
Can you explain the 1980 reference you made in your speech?
Yeah, I'm going to give another speech about 1980 because 1980 was a critical year for me, but we'll get to that at some point. Anybody else?
So I think Turner's made it clear he's going to try to tie you to President
Trump?
And
Yeah.
his-
Here's my question,
My
Jasper.
question for you is,
Yeah.
how do you plan to essentially combat that? I mean, is your defense of that just focus strictly on the issues?
Let's focus on issues. I mean, why would our mayor, I mean, he's had 4 years to do something. Why does his entire campaign trying to attach me to some national figure that I have nothing to do with? It makes no sense. My focus is on where are we with regard to flooding? Where are we with regard to helping those people that flooded in Harvey? 15 people have been helped. What are we doing about making our streets safer, despite what the Chronicle says? We all know now, despite what the Chronicle says, that violent crime is in fact up. I mean, what are we doing about our streets? How are we going to deal with pay parity, which 298,000 people voted in favor of? That's what I'm going to be focused on. We're going to focus on that. I'm not going to allow this mayor to make this some sort of national referendum on Donald Trump, who's not here. Donald Trump's not running. I'm my own person. I'm running for mayor of the city of Houston to make this city work. And right now, I would respectfully suggest it is not working.
How much more money you spent? Like what, 10 million already?
How much? Here's my question: how many more donors are going to give to Sylvester Turner? And what relationship do they have with contracts in the city of Houston? The good news is this: my mother drove my school bus and worked in my cafeteria. My father cut meat for 43 years. For those of you that claim to care about people, Sylvester Turner cares about one person, and that's himself, and campaign donors. And we're going to put an end to that. I'm going to spend whatever it takes to beat a corrupt politician. A corrupt politician that in 1991, he ran for mayor the first time. Then he ran again. And then he ran again. Guess what I was doing in 1991? I had a 90-pound pack on my back with an M16A2 defending our country. And now I'm running for mayor to advance the city of Houston. I love Houston. It has been incredibly good for me, incredibly good to me and my family. And I'm not going to allow a career politician to run it into the dirt anymore. Next question.
How much more money do you plan on spending between now and the
I haven't even considered it. I'm going to spend, like I say, whatever it takes to beat this corrupt mayor.
Are you going to see more ads on TV?
We'll see what happens.
What are you going to do in order to convince the voters from Bill King, Dwight Boykins to vote for you? Because without those votes, it's going to be a hard election.
It's a good point, and I encourage the voters for Bill King, who I think drew about 14%, Boykins, who drew about 6%, Sue Lovell, who drew about 1.2%. I encourage them all to join our team. I think the takeaway from this election is you have an entrenched incumbent mayor with the entire establishment behind him, can't even break 47%. He's got a major problem, I think. And I'm no politician. I'm not a professional at this. Sylvester Turner's been in politics for more than 30 years. But I think anybody that knows about politics knows that if you're in his position with everybody pushing him, including the Houston Chronicle, pushing him, and he can't even break 50%, and he's somewhere below 47%, he's got a real problem. This is a completely new race now. This is race 2.0. It's a new race. Now it's a referendum on what Sylvester Turner has done or failed to do, and I'm looking forward to making that case.
How quickly do you hope to enlist the help of the firefighters whose candidate, Dwight Boykins, lost last night?
First off, I want to commend the firefighters for all the work they did. I went to many different polling locations. Our campaign knocked on more than 100,000 doors, and in many cases, the firefighters had already been there. The firefighters worked their tail ends off, and that's to be commended. I like Dwight a lot. I think y'all could tell that from our forums and so forth. Dwight brought a sense of common sense to the election. He was kind. He was never negative. I'm looking for his support and looking for the firefighter support. I can't comment on the internal workings of how the fire union is going to do its, but I'm going to be seeking that endorsement, and I certainly would welcome that endorsement.
Do you have any timetable for giving more details on your plans to address these specific?
We're gonna roll out plans on we're gonna do what I'm gonna call a contract with Houston. Remember that way back in the day? A contract with Houston, so people know exactly what they're going to vote for. Now, if you go to my website at TonyBuzbeeForMayor.com, you can already see, and we have page after page of our policies. But we're going to try to put it all in one document so people know that there's a clear distinction for what the mayor has failed to do and what we're going to do. And I would expect you'll see that in the next 7 days.
Tony, I want to pivot off what Jasper asked. We heard it this morning. You talked about a slugfest. The mayor labeled you Trump Jr.
Yeah, of course.
And I think we're probably going to hear more of that.
Yeah, I'm sure you will.
How do you combat that?
You know, I've said this many times before, and I think many of you have heard me say this. Some people are born with a silver spoon in their mouths. Some people are born like me with a plastic spork in my mouth. Y'all go to KFC, right? No? Okay, maybe you don't, but I go to KFC. I had a rough and tumble childhood. Had a tough childhood. My dad cut meat. My mother drove the school bus. Collectively, my two folks, the two parents, made $30,000 a year. I used to lie in bed. I shared a bed with my brother, and listen to my parents in their paper-thin walls talk about which bill they could pay and which bill they could not pay, which one they had to kick the can down the road. So for somebody to try to make that kind of comparison, and I understand why the mayor would try to do that, is because he doesn't have a record to run on. He doesn't have a record to run on. I mean, if he had done a good job over the last 4 years, he should be talking about all the things that he's done, all the accomplishments, not attacking me and trying to connect me to a New York billionaire, because I'm nothing like a New York billionaire. I'm a Marine Corps captain who had a tough upbringing. So I'm just going to make the case and tell the truth. And we may have to have an ad to clarify that. I don't know. We haven't really decided yet. But I'm assuming that's. I mean, the sad thing is that that's the mayor's. That's his entire strategy, is to try to attach me or compare me to somebody who is really nothing like me.
To be clear, you'll be seeking endorsements from Dwight Boykins, Bill King, and Sue Lovell?
Let me be clear. I've never sought endorsements. I'm going to seek their support.
From those three candidates?
I'm going to seek for all the candidates.
All the candidates.
All of them. I want all the candidates and all their voters to join our team, and let's change this city. Absolutely, absolutely do.
You mentioned a silver spoon. Were you referring to anything particular?
No, it's just that the mayor. One of the reasons I supported the mayor in the last election. Let's not forget that I did a fundraiser at my house and supported him in the last election. One of the reasons I liked him, despite some of his legislative record in the state house, was his upbringing. He comes from a family of 9 people. His single mother who worked at the Rice Hotel. I like that American story because it's my story, the American dream. It's just that he disappointed me. He just has not delivered, and he has turned his back on so many people, and so that's why I decided to run for mayor. All the things he said he was going to do, he did in many cases the exact opposite, and then he has not delivered. The competency is bad, and we all know about the character issues. So that's why I supported him in the last election and could never support him again.
But the reference to a silver spoon, I wasn't sure where that came.
Well, I mean, many people that have been in politics for a long time understand the reference, which some people are born on third base and they thought they hit a home run. You understand the concept? Basically, I was not born with a silver spoon in my mouth, meaning, I didn't come from rich, wealthy parents. That's what I meant.
I understand that. It seemed to be a contrast. I didn't know if you were alluding to something.
No, I'm not gonna criticize anybody, but I think everybody understands what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and Tony, you've been making a big issue out of city contracts.
Yeah.
In this campaign, have you ever saw a city contract?
No.
A deal with the city where your legal expertise?
Now, I was asked by a guy named Daryl Carter, and then I figured out what was going on and had no interest in it.
What did Daryl ask?
I think it was after Harvey, because I'd represented a lot of school districts and so forth down in Galveston County, and represented U of H pro bono, as you probably know. And so I was asked to, and I had a meeting with Daryl Carter, and I quickly figured out that something's amiss at City Hall.
Tony, tough question. Are you worried about excerpts of last night's speech being used in your adversary's commercial?
No. I mean, look, he's going to attack. Turner's going to attack me every which way he can. Every attack he's had so far, most people see it as what it is a desperate politician who's trying to keep his position. Not worried about it at all. Thank you, guys.